you introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Okay.
Yes.
So I am Ann Reiki, and I am a Reiki Master and Teacher. And so what I do is I connect with people's energy, and I help the energy move around and flow more easily so that they feel better. Reiki stands for life force energy. And basically what we do is we get attuned to the energy by a Reiki master, like myself, and then we're able to feel energy more easily. So it's not on all the time, thank goodness, because that would be exhausting. So I'll turn on my Reiki using some sacred symbols, and then my hands become more attuned to energy in general. And it works a little bit differently for everybody. But I often use the chakra system, and so I'll feel someone's energy, so how they vibrate. We know that everything has a vibration, and when I'm in tuned with it, I'm more sensitive to that vibration. And I'll feel it, and then I'll look for changes. And when there's a change, that's something I should pay attention to. And so for me, they fall frequently in the chakras. And I'll purposely set the intention that emotional and physical are kept separate, so that we can really tell what's going on, because we hold emotional and physical in our chakras. And then I see the chakras in my third eye, not with my eyes. And I can tell people what they're holding on to and how old it is, and likely what it's from. That's just my best guess. I certainly don't know everything. I'm not infallible. And oftentimes I believe it comes from guides. Some people believe it comes from God. I'll get messages as well about things people are holding on to. But we always set the intention that whatever comes through me is for the person's greatest and highest good, so that we don't discuss anything they're not ready for yet. And once we go through all the chakras, it really gives us a clear idea of what people are holding on to and why, and what is ready to be released for their next step. The idea is that when our body is balanced and when we're energetically doing well, we can better heal ourselves. And carrying around lots of negative energy puts your body in dis-ease. And we all have experiences with that. Like if you walk into a room and people are fighting, and as soon as you walk in the room, you're kind of like, oh, it feels heavy in here. Mm-hmm. And maybe you were in a great mood when you got there, but by the time you leave, it feels like you need to drag yourself out of the door, mm-hmm. because you're carrying all that negative energy with you. And so I help release that. Another thing I frequently do is heal cords. So the idea,
the cords.
Mm-hmm. So the idea is that we have an energetic cord that's attached to everyone who we have a major relationship with in our lives. And energy goes back and forth through that cord. Yeah. So if you've ever gotten a feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to call my mom. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but I have to call my mom. And you call your mom and you find out something happened. Mm-hmm. And you just knew. My belief is that's the energy coming to you through that cord. And even people we love very much, sometimes we send them negative energy, because all of us have good and not so good thoughts about everyone. It's part of being human. And so some people cut those cords. I don't cut them because I feel like that's an act of violence.
What do you mean cut the cord? Means mm-hmm. like, for example, if I have bad relationship with my daddy, I'm going to cut that. That's what you mean, or what?
Some people do that. Yeah. Some people energetically cut the cord to sever all ties.
So I don't talk to you anymore, like that. Mm-hmm.
And I don't do that because I think your dad is always your dad.
Yeah.
Whether you have a good relationship or a bad relationship, there's a relationship.
Yes.
And so it will reattach again in some way.
It's not healthy. Yeah.
That's my belief. Mm-hmm. And so instead what I do is I use my Reiki to heal it. And I'll heal halfway through. I'll find out where it's attached to your body, energetically, of course. And I'll heal halfway through. And then when I get halfway through, I connect to the other person's higher self. And you state their full legal name. That's me giving me permission to do so. And the other person's higher self responds. And it's really funny because they often respond in the same words, the same tone that person will use. And I say it out loud so the person I'm working on can hear it. And they almost always laugh because they're like, yep, that sounds just like them. Like, how did you know? Right? Sometimes it's rough and burly, and other times it's, oh, honey, of course. Yeah, they let me through maybe half the time. Half the time they don't. And if they say no, I respect that.
Yeah.
Because respecting people's free will is really important. Either way, I put in a filter, like an energetic filter, so that love and light come through. So if you have positive thoughts for the person, those will get through. But if you have yuck, it stays on your side. And if they have yuck, it stays on their side. And what that does is it just lightens the relationship a bit. So that next time you get a call or a text from that person, instead of having that knot in your stomach where it's like, right, you'll be like, oh, it's that person, okay. And it lightens things. Frequently that person will kind of get like a ping that something's happening. And while I'm clearing the cord, they'll call or text you. That's pretty common.
How you protect yourself? You know the energy coming and force. If this person have really bad energy, how you protect yourself? When you
there are lots of different ways to do that. And as a part of working with people, I teach my clients how to do that. I feel that, you know, I am a trained teacher, and so it's my job on this earth to help heal people and also to educate them so that they can do a lot of what I do on their own. So one of the most basic things that I teach is to bubble up. And I learned this from another person, another light worker. And basically you just imagine a bubble going around yourself. That works kind of like a force field, like if you've seen The Incredibles, right? I usually imagine mine made out of diamond because diamond is really thick and really hard. And also it reflects light. So people can say yuck stuff and it will just bounce right off me and then go back out into the world as love and light. So that the yuck doesn't need to continue around us. And then at night, you just imagine a vacuum coming down and hooking on up and sucking all the yuck out. Sorry, how about you? Yeah, well, and doing these things out. That starting from a very young age, you know, children say, I perceived this or I saw that, and we say, oh, it's just your imagination.
You had an imaginary friend.
Right? Oh, yeah. And, you know, when I started this work, I had another light worker tell me, Ann, I think that you're really psychic. And that freaked me out because I thought of like those places that you call, right? The psychic network, whatever. And I'm like, that's not me. What? What? And then as I learned more about this, I realized, no, everybody has some of this. This is part of the human experience. And how it manifests in each of us is a little different. Just like, you know, how we do anything is a little different. How the way we sign our name is different. And so what it looks like for me, it won't look like that for other people. But it doesn't mean it's not there. And the more in tune you get with this, the more it wakens things. So a lot of my Reiki students come to me to learn Reiki, not necessarily because they want to do Reiki, but because they want to get more in tune with energy. And so I have, you know, students who are studying to be doctors, and students who are chiropractors, and students who, you know, are veterinarians, and all sorts of things. And they say, this is something that I think is important for me to learn. Some of them even like do tarot, right? But they're like, when I get more in tune with the energy, then I will receive more messages. And it's amazing. I mean, it's, yeah, the messages that I receive are absolutely phenomenal.
That is amazing. Yes. How some people can feel the Reiki and some people don't feel anything.
That's true. Yeah. So during a session with me, when the person's laying on the table, before they lay down, I ask them if they've done any other energy work. And it's really common for people to not know what Reiki is, to not know what chakras are, and to not know what energy work is. And so they look at me blankly, usually, and I say, so have you done any Reiki or any cranial sacral therapy or healing touch or acupuncture? And when I get to acupuncture, a lot of people are like, oh, ping, I've done acupuncture. And I say, okay, well, what does acupuncture feel like in your body? Because that's how the energy feels moving in your body. And for some people it feels really warm, like sunshine. For some people it feels kind of cool, like a breeze. For some people it feels like butterflies or like a stirring or swirling in their bodies. And for some people it doesn't feel like anything. It just feels relaxing, almost like for people who have breastfed, right? When you have that letdown and all of those hormones are released and your body just goes, right? Some people describe it more like that. And there's not one way that's better than any other ways. It's just different. It's how your body reads it. And one beautiful thing about Reiki is it can do no harm. So no matter what happens on the table, it won't be anything bad. The Reiki knows what to do. It's guided.
I hear you also read the past life.
I do, yes. So I'm an advanced Akashic record practitioner. And I have studied 2 different ways to access the Akashic Records. Now, when I talk about this, most people don't know what Akashic Records are either. Do either of you know what Akashic Records are? No. Okay. That's pretty common. So Akashic Records are referred to in the Bible as a record of everything that has been and everything that will be. So the belief is that there's a book, an energetic book, not an actual book, that talks about all facets of you. My belief is that we have past lives, and our past lives inform our current life. And so our soul has been through things before that leaves an imprint on us. And I believe it's important for us to know that, because there may be things happening in this life that we don't understand. For example, if you've met somebody and you don't know them at all, it's your first time meeting them and you go, oh, I don't like that person. Like, that person needs to stay away from me. And it's like this deep, visceral reaction. My belief is that's past life. That something has happened with that person in a past life, that your soul recognizes their soul and knows that is not the person for me.
Yeah.
And it could happen.
The very first time Jeff met Anya, the first day he met you, too, he called me on the telephone after you had a coffee date that lasted like 8 hours or something.
Wow.
Oh, I
He
don't
said-
know that.
Yes, and he called me and told me, he said, I met this girl, and she's originally from China. And we were supposed to have a coffee date, and it went on for hours. I feel like I have always known her. That was a soul connection. And he had that same soul connection with Anya from the very first meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful when it happens.
So what attacked me when I talked to Jeff? Oh, yes, I feel like an old friend, number one. What really attacked me, you know, when you meet somebody, he is a 53-year-old, you know, life. I think nobody talked the ugly part of the life, but he bring the ugly part. He tell me he has a business. He's successful, but it's fall down. He lose everything. And that's number one, okay? Means I have nothing. Number two, he said about his life, and he have a abortion before with this little girl. When he talk about the abortion, he have eyes red. I see the tear behind. I feel like, wow, how many people, and especially in China, almost every family, you know, in China only have one baby. So almost everybody. But how many, we don't say man don't even care about anything. Sometimes I feel like, but women don't even want to talk about this. But this man, he, so many years after, that's when he's 20 years old probably, huh?
Yes.
And it's like 30 years after, when he talk about the abortion baby, he still have tear in his eyes. That's where. That's touch me, my heart. I feel like this guy is different.
Yeah.
So now I just feel, I follow my heart, and I think this time is right. God give me big present, you know.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Anya when you first?
Well, before I saw Anya,
She's very end to die. I feel like that.
Yeah. And before I met her, you had been in my office and you talked to me about her.
Yeah.
And right away I kind of lit up. And I remember saying like, oh, she's really bright and bubbly, and describing all of these things about her.
It's her, yes. You
and
saw her, I feel like.
and you crying, being like, oh my gosh, you see her, you know her.
Yeah.
And then we went to the hospital and she was very, very ill. And there were lots of doctors all around her. And so I just sat close to her, and I turned on my Reiki and connected to her energy. And then it felt like energetically she was sitting next to me.
Yeah, you have goosebumps right away, and you tell me that.
Yep. And so I started doing Reiki on her right then. Yeah, and she just kind of talked to me a little bit about where she was mentally, you know, about how she didn't know if she was going to make it this time. And she was going to fight. She wasn't done fighting yet. But she didn't know if she could do it again. She didn't know if she could go back to,
Before.
like when she just moved to Pinky. Like that's what she showed me.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know if I can go back to that again. So if I have to go back to that, I think I'm done. So it was like I have fight, but not that much fight left.
Yeah.
And then she said, I think my mom will let me go, but I don't think my dad will.
That's true.
And she said, I just need him to know that, or like I need to hear him say that it's okay if it gets to that point. Like that was very important for her to hear that. And she said, and I don't think he'll ever say that.
He did.
He did.
He did have that.
Wow. Okay.
Because of
I
what
tell
you told
you,
him.
I tell him, I said, Ann Marie wanted me tell you something, but
Yeah.
not yet. In the point, I think
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. And then Tuesday we have a CT scan or something. But anyway, all doctor give up her.
Okay.
And Jeff don't want to say anything. And then doctor come to me, sit down with me. I talk to Jeff, take her tube out.
Okay.
So if we take her tube out, she's going to die in couple hours. And so her blood, the whole body is blood clot already. In I don't know what they say, but they have another name called DIC, means dead is coming.
Okay.
So when you see the blood clot all over, nothing can help. And also her lung is all really, really bad. So nothing can help. So they want to bring, you want to die in hospital or you want to go home? And that's a Friday. They want to, but when I talk, and Jeff waiting like really heavy for maybe 24 hours. And then said, I'm going to talk to her. I don't know when, but I don't want anybody here when I talk to her about that. I don't.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know how bad she's doing. I don't need to, as Jeff put it, I don't need to have 1,600 different people coming in here every day telling me how bad she is.
Yeah.
And so, he says by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I have a pretty clear understanding where we sit medically.
Yeah.
And he said, I am not blind. I can see we have a very sick daughter.
Yeah.
But right now we want to look at any improvements, and there have been small improvements over the last 4 days each day,
Okay.
including bringing down the oxygen levels that she has needed to sustain herself.
Okay.
And so one of the people from social services said, okay, we understand. We're bombarding you with bad news many times a day. And how can we put this into action then for us to get away from doing that? And the primary oncologist that has been with her for 8 years, he said, well, maybe we come into the room and say, if you're already aware of how she's doing today, we come into the room and we say, do you have any questions for me today?
They changed the room after that. I feel so good. The energy the energy feel more light.
Okay.
And we have a lot of people visit us, all love, a lot of laughter, and her teachers, her friends, and her auntie, uncle, and a lot of people. It's all love. And Anya started, kind of like a Titanic, almost hurt the eyes, and started to come this way, So when you go there, and her soul is out, right? But then they started coming back, and then sometimes they she open eyes and she close, right?
She had her eyes
every
open
day getting better.
because when she first started to open her eyes, they were just barely slits. Yesterday she was opening her eyes. What I could truly say are opening her eyes.
Yeah.
And then Jeff was doing this thing with her where he wink, 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 wink. He's playing with her that way, and he's right up in her face. And then she did her little bunny nose. She moves her nose, and she did her little bunny nose back up at him.
Yeah, she can do that. So she's fighting. You're right.
Yeah.
She's fighting.
Yeah. And since I went the one day, and I've been doing distance every day since.
You said she wanted fighting, but she don't want to go all over like that time again.
Yeah.
And actually, when the doctor gave up, I think that's 10 days, 12 days ago. 12 days ago, they give up. I called my friend. He grew ginseng. He's doctor, but he grew ginseng, and he's in Washington D.C. Have a meeting, and he sent a ginseng. He said, "No, give up. I'm going to send it to you ginseng. The ginseng for people the qi in Chinese medicine for many years." And he tell me cook for like 2 hours, just like what we tasted today, and give to her the ginseng, and then just for example, like here, like in your body, like 10,000 army, right? But it's like a lot has died, like a lot died. Probably only 500 left, but the 500 they look all died, and they kind of like, okay, I don't want the fighting anymore. But then kind of wake up this 500 army people, and they go like fighting again. And sometimes you can go through, sometimes because this is look like a power, and you can see very fast in maybe a week. You can see fast, but it's not real because they don't have enough people.
Yeah.
So now everything started good. So that's kind of like you can see. Oh, but her body not strong enough. Today, doctor kind of want. Oh, now we can fix her again. How about we give to her? No, we can give to her chemo again. And now kind of make me worry. I think no, too soon. Maybe waiting one more week or something. You know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's too soon. I think let her body recover
Healing,
a little bit and
Yeah.
let her settle back into her body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think 1 week is enough, or
Maybe.
yeah, that's what I think.
I think you
Yeah,
look
our
at
family don't agree. And I talked to Dr. Ming. He's a ginseng farmer. He said, no, too soon. What the you know? He said, like 3 days ago you said nothing help, you give up, and today you want to do this chemo again, you know? Anyway. So now we did everything we can. We ask time. We ask Anya need more time and see. Now we see Jeff already talked to Anya, you know. And if you feel like too tired, Daddy can let you go, you know, hold you. But if you want the fighting, we're fighting together. So I think this is and all the doctors come to the room. They stop talking bad news anymore.
So she's not hearing all that. All
And I do feel the room is more love and more light, the energy. We're kind of like a bubble, you know. A hospital's energy is very heavy, but we're kind of like a bubble and kind of protect. That's how I feel.
yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Any questions, you guys?
you said, you know, a person in like a higher position possibly, and it was just she just kind of creeped me out a little bit. Now, the guy, I felt the same way. He had more of a gentle eye to him. He seemed to me to feel like a meek person. I felt like there was nothing really bad about him other than I felt like he was a little depressed.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was wondering, would you remove those pictures from the home?
I would remove the pictures from the home if they were in a space that people were walking past all the time. I wouldn't have them in the common area in my home, but because they're in the basement, I think it's okay where they are.
Okay.
So a lot of American people go to China and buy those kind of stuff to here, but actually those people are like family, the real person. And who go to China and bring this back, you can see the frame is really, really good, right? And they probably hang in the very important family. Those two pictures saw a lot. For some reason, I like this too. But also, I feel the energy, the lady is not very good. But I don't know, for some reason, I just want to, I don't saw that yet. Do you think it's something I can hold or hand one day to the new house, or don't even think about it, just sell it? What do you think?
No, I think energy can always be cleared from objects. And I think that there is a space for her energy as well. You know, like maybe when people first walk in the door, right, kind of like a protecting presence.
Oh,
to be watching over things and keeping you safe. That wouldn't be a bad place to hang her. Now, would I hang her in the bedroom?
No.
No.
I wouldn't want her
So
in the
you just have to
bedroom.
be very careful about where you place her.
That's a very good direction.
Yes.
Yes. I wouldn't place her in the kitchen or any bedrooms. Or any place that you want to feel like light and fun.
Yeah.
Right? That's not her energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the front door to make sure she's watching who's coming in and out.
Okay.
That'd be a good place for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about the wood. You feel the wood. So this is before you come here and the girls feel the how you feel.
Okay. So before I
Yes.
got to your house.
It was several years ago.
Yeah.
I was doing some cleaning up there, and on the balcony, I was dusting all of the rails and Spindles. the spindles and the woodwork and whatever. And as soon as I got up there, and I'm crouched down, I just felt, you know, cleaning all this, I felt like kind of trapped, sort of a heavy feeling, just kind of a creepiness came over me. And it just felt funny to me. And I'm kind of with you on that back bedroom. We sleep in there. I'm not afraid to be in there.
Or the open bed?
In
Or the
in
teenager bed?
April's. No,
April's
in April's
room. Yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
It's, you can feel that there is some kind of an energy in there.
Yep.
Also,
Yes.
like you said, like a teenager, like
Yeah, it's not welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you kind of get that feeling. That's
Yeah.
right.
So what happened in the bed? Can you feel like, I mean the room.
It just
I feel against me. They hit me, I feel like.
that makes sense to me because what I felt was just very heavy. It was a lot of anger, and it felt like domestic violence to me. Like that's kind of what I saw, was a man hurting a woman, specifically. And so you being the new woman of the house,
Yeah.
it makes sense that it would feel against you. As soon as we walk up the stairs and get to the top of the stairs, you could feel the energy totally shift in the house.
But I'm so surprised that you think that don't have no heaven. I'm so surprised that that's my husband's grandmother when she's a little.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I always think that dolls like that look creepy, so I don't read them.
Yeah.
Because my assumption with them is always something spooky.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, I don't know about that one. I'm not.
You know, look.
No. I was just like, I'm very aware that it's there. I'm very aware of the energy coming from that doll, and I'm not going there.
You're not even go
Which
there.
is why you didn't
Afraid.
venture down that.
Afraid that you may look at the eyes. But my husband loved grandma, and he said, no, I don't afraid anything. That's my grandma's doll. I will keep that.
Okay.
I'm waiting for these two girls bring the doll home. You know, go to Omaha. They don't want to.
We've made it clear we're not
You're not
taking the
taking
doll.
that That's fair.
So what do you think of the whole house, the overall? So Anya's room.
Yeah, Anya's room is great.
Okay.
Overall, I think the house is very good energetically. You know, there were some pieces in the basement, which we discussed, and then the heaviness upstairs. But the heaviness upstairs could easily be cleared. Yeah, I was asked if there was like any ghosts or anything, and I think there was someone trapped there for a while, but there's no one trapped there right now.
I agree. It's a travel ghost. I agree. Okay. This has happened all the times. So over this 9 years, everybody, so April, Jeff, and me, and sometimes once we hear, and Jeff's voice when Jeff not home, and when I'm not home, he hear my voice, you know. And when April go to school almost late, somebody like, I said, April, like wake up her, and she go like this, and she look the clock, and she have to go to school right away. And I think when Anya, she's 8.5, she and her other little friend play in the room. These two girls running to the downstairs, and it's scary so much that they saw a hand. But I don't know they are lie or they want to scare but they look very scary.
Yeah.
And sometimes, when Anya's brain died and come back, when she come back, she kind of speak, right? And then she have to relearn language. When she relearn the language, she obviously ghost for a long time. And then when she can talk very good, she don't see ghost anymore. And one time, my friend, one time like 7 o'clock something, and Jeff and me, we changed Anya. And Anya said two girls, 1 boy, or one girl, 2 boy, I forgot. So it's 3 creepy people there in her bedroom. And one person is bleeding, it's new blood. That's what Anya said. Sometimes you feel, okay, we don't see, she always say, I saw ghost. And sometimes we don't say anything, we say, hi ghost, how are you? We just say that because she said, I'm not afraid, I kind of used to it. But we joke about this for like 7 o'clock. But 10:30, my friend from St. Paul, he drive here. And he said, Maggie, somebody died, drive a motorcycle, just like you know, here we just leave the bridge here, and they have an ambulance there, and somebody drive a motorcycle, but they don't have no
helmet.
Yeah, and the person died, the ambulance died. I wonder, sometimes the travel goes, and it's just happened in the same day, and 3 hours later, I wonder, Anya just said she saw the very fresh blood on his head. That just make me remember something when you said the travel ghost is not ghost live there, because we don't feel that every day, but once well.
Yeah. And so when Anya was sick and just learning how to speak again, it's kind of the same as how younger children, really little children, see more spirits, and it's that the veil's a little bit thinner, right? Or people right before they die may see a loved one waiting for them, because the veil's a little thinner, so it's easier to see those things when our brain isn't as full of the stuff of everyday life. So that doesn't surprise me at all that she saw that. And it's almost like spirits that are trapped can feel those that can help them or those that can see them and kind of seek them out is what I feel like happens, because I'll frequently have them come. For me, it's frequently in the shower because I love the water, and I have to say, no, I'm not doing this right now. You have to come back later. And it's like they can sense me. They're not someone who I know in this life at all.
Yeah, sometimes.
But they can feel that I can do this work. And so my guess is that he could feel that Anya could see him and was kind of pulled to her. Likely he didn't know he was dead yet. And that would be really scary.
But she see him before he died, like 3 hours before.
Oh, 3 hours before he died.
Yeah.
Wow.
No?
Yeah, so a lot of my gifts have to do with energy and how energy works. And so I get the best information when I'm with someone, because then I can kind of tap into their energy. Or even with items, I have to be really close to it.
Yeah,
or
you
touch
have to
it.
touch.
Or like a picture, I look into the eyes of a person, because that's how I get into their energy and I can read it.
I see.
And so with a story like that, because I can't get into that person's energy,
Yeah.
I don't get much. You can find the right place to put it. It should go.
Okay.
Beyond that, not really.
How about the wood, the piece wood stuff?
Oh,
That stuff.
yeah, that should go just because it doesn't belong to you.
Not belong to me. Yeah.
It should go to someone who so that was kept in hiding for a really long time, and it needs to go someplace where it can come out.
On full display.
It's kind of
Yes.
like it doesn't like being closed.
Yes, as I'm saying that, like the song in my head is "I'm coming out. I want the world to know." So frequently, like my guides will give me messages through songs, and so it needs to be like on display, not in a closet, not closed up. It's been hidden for so long that it needs to be
the
someplace where people will really enjoy it.
The power inside.
Yeah.
Right? They need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that might be something that, you post online to sell, or maybe you give it to someone who you care about very deeply, who's looking to have babies or something. I don't know.